Michael Chen sat in his large office on the top floor of the Wilson Motors building. From his window, he could see the whole city. The sun was setting, making the glass buildings shine like gold. Michael looked at his watch. It was almost 7 p.m., and he was still at work, again. As the CEO of Wilson Motors, one of the biggest car companies in the country, Michael had little time for himself. His days were filled with meetings, calls, and hard choices. The company made luxury cars that only rich people could buy. And business was good, very good. Michael stood up and walked to the window. 50 stories below, tiny cars moved like ants. Some of those cars were made by his company. He felt proud but also tired, very tired. His phone rang. It was his assistant, Lisa. "Mr. Chen, your sister called. She wants to remind you about the family dinner tomorrow at her cabin." Michael closed his eyes. He had forgotten all about it. "Thank you, Lisa. Anything else?" "The meeting with the board is set for Monday morning. And your new suit is ready for pickup." "Thank you. You can go home now. Have a nice weekend." After hanging up, Michael sat back down. His sister Amy lived in a cabin in the mountains, 2 hours from the city. She had moved there 5 years ago, wanting a simpler life away from all the noise. Michael had only visited twice. He was always too busy. He opened his laptop to check his sister's address. As he looked at the map, he noticed the steep, rough roads leading to her cabin. His sports car would never make it up those roads, especially if it rained or snowed. "I need a truck," he said to himself. Michael could easily call someone to get him a truck. As the CEO of Wilson Motors, he could have any car brought to him. People would rush to help him. But something about that bothered him. Lately, Michael had been thinking about how different his life was now. Everyone treated him specially because of his job. They smiled too much, laughed at his jokes even when they weren't funny, and always said yes to everything. It didn't feel real. He missed being treated like a normal person. He missed the days when he was just starting out, when people didn't know who he was, when they treated him based on who he was, not what he could do for them. An idea came to him. What if he bought a truck himself? Not as Michael Chen, the CEO of Wilson Motors, but as just another customer. What would that be like? Michael opened his browser and searched for truck dealers. Thompson Trucks caught his eye. It was owned by the Garcia Group, one of Wilson Motors' biggest competitors. No one there would expect to see him. But they might still recognize him. His face was in business magazines and on TV. He needed a disguise. Michael looked at himself in the small mirror on his wall. He hadn't shaved in 2 days. That was a start. He opened his desk drawer and found an old baseball cap from a company picnic. He never wore hats. This could work. Tomorrow morning, he would go to Thompson Trucks. He would wear old clothes, his baseball cap, and glasses. He would use his second credit card, the one without the company name. He would be just Michael, a guy who needed a truck to visit his sister's cabin. For the first time in weeks, Michael felt excited. This would be an adventure, a small one, but still an adventure. He would see how his competitors treated regular customers. He would experience buying a car like a normal person again. Little did Michael know that this simple truck purchase would change his life in ways he could never imagine. The next morning, Michael woke up early. He stood in front of his closet and pushed aside his expensive suits. In the back, he found what he was looking for: old jeans with a small tear in one knee, a faded blue t-shirt, and worn work boots he had used years ago when he helped build his first apartment. He put on the clothes and looked at himself in the mirror. The man who stared back at him didn't look like a CEO. That was good. He added the baseball cap and a pair of sunglasses. Then he rubbed his hand over his rough beard. Perfect. Michael took the back elevator down to the parking garage. He didn't want his neighbors to see him dressed like this. His sports car would give him away, so he called a taxi instead. "Thompson Trucks, please," he told the driver. The driver looked at him in the mirror. Going to buy a truck? Yes, I need one for my sister's place in the mountains. Good luck. Those salespeople can be sharks, the driver said. They'll try to sell you all kinds of extra stuff you don't need. Michael smiled. I'll be careful. The ride took 30 minutes. Michael used this time to think about his plan. He would act like someone who didn't know much about cars. He would see how the salespeople treated a regular customer. Would they be honest? Would they try to trick him? The taxi stopped in front of Thompson Trucks. The lot was full of shiny trucks of all sizes and colors. A big sign read, Des DELS in Todoran, and no CRD needed. Michael paid the driver and stepped out. His heart beat faster. This was exciting. He felt like a spy on a secret mission. He walked around the lot, looking at different trucks. No one came to help him. After 15 minutes, he started to feel annoyed. If he had come here in his suit, driving his expensive car, salespeople would have rushed to him right away. Finally, he walked into the main building. It was busy inside. Several salespeople were talking to customers, but no one looked at him. Michael stood there, waiting. A young woman at the front desk was talking on the phone. She glanced at Michael, but kept talking. Michael waited some more. 5 minutes passed. 10 minutes. This was not what he expected. He thought salespeople would jump at any chance to sell a truck. But it seemed like they were ignoring him because of how he looked. Just as Michael was about to leave, a young man approached him. He looked about 25 years old and wore a name tag that said, Tom. Sorry about the wait, Tom said. It's crazy busy today. Can I help you? Michael nodded. I'm looking for a truck, something that can handle mountain roads. Tom smiled. You've come to the right place. We have the best trucks for that kind of driving. Follow me. As they walked through the lot, Tom asked questions about what Michael needed. He listened carefully to the answers. So you need something reliable, good in all weather, not too big but strong enough for steep roads. Let me show you a few options. Tom showed Michael 3 different trucks. He explained the good and bad points of each one honestly. He didn't push the most expensive one. Instead, he suggested the mid-price truck might be best for Michael's needs. This one has the best balance of power and fuel economy, Tom said. The expensive model has features you probably won't use, and the cheaper one might struggle on those mountain roads you mentioned. Michael was surprised. Tom was being honest. He wasn't trying to make the biggest sale. He was trying to find the right truck for his customer. Can I take it for a test drive? Michael asked. Of course, Tom said with a smile. Let me get the keys. As Tom walked away, Michael thought that maybe this experience would be different than he expected. Maybe better. Tom returned with the keys to the blue truck. Ready for the test drive? He asked with a smile. Michael nodded and climbed into the driver's seat. The inside of the truck was clean and smelled new. Tom sat in the passenger seat and showed Michael how to adjust the seat and mirrors. The roads around here can be busy, Tom said. Just take your time. No rush. Michael started the engine. Despite running his car company for 8 years, he rarely drove new vehicles himself. Usually, his team tested them and gave him reports. This felt different. He was in control. They drove out of the lot and onto the main road. The truck handled well. It was bigger than Michael's sports car, but easy to drive. So what do you do for work? Tom asked. Michael almost froze. He hadn't prepared for this question. He couldn't say he was a CEO. I work with cars, he said, which wasn't a lie. Cool. What kind of work? Tom seemed genuinely interested. I help design them, Michael said. Again, not fully a lie. He did approve final designs. That's amazing. I'm actually studying engineering at night school. I want to design cars someday. Tom's eyes lit up. Do you like your job? Michael thought about this. I used to love it. Now it's more complicated. Because of the business side of things. Tom asked. Yes, Michael said, surprised by the young man's insight. Sometimes I miss just working on the cars themselves. They drove up a steep hill. The truck climbed it easily. Try turning here, Tom suggested. This road has some rough patches. Good test for a truck. Michael turned onto a bumpy side road. The truck handled the uneven ground well. He was impressed. What do you think? Tom asked. It drives well, Michael said. How long have you been selling trucks? Tom laughed. Actually, today it is just my second week. I'm new. That's probably why they sent me to help you. The experienced salespeople take the customers who look like they have more money. This comment caught Michael's attention. So customers are sorted by how they look. Tom's face turned red. I probably shouldn't have said that. But yes, kind of. My boss says to focus on people in nice clothes or who drive expensive cars. But I think that's wrong. Anyone could be a good customer, right? Michael nodded, thinking how right Tom was. Here he was, one of the richest men in the city, dressed in old clothes, and only Tom had bothered to help him. They drove back to the dealership. Michael had made up his mind. This truck was good, and he liked Tom's honest approach. I'll take it, Michael said as they parked. Tom looked surprised. Really? Just like that? Don't you want to look at more trucks or think about it? No, I know what I want, Michael said. Most salespeople would be rushing him to the paperwork by now, not suggesting he think more about it. Great. Let's go inside, and I can work up the numbers for you, Tom said. Inside, they sat at Tom's small desk. It had a computer and a framed photo of a woman holding a baby. Is that your family? Michael asked. Tom smiled proudly. Yes, my wife Sarah and our daughter Emma. She just turned 1 last month. Beautiful family, Michael said. Thanks. They're why I'm working here and going to school. Want to give them a good life. Tom typed on his computer. Okay, so the truck is $35,000. But I can talk to my manager about a discount. No need, Michael said. The price is fair. Tom looked at him strangely. Most customers try to negotiate. Are you sure? I could probably get at least $1,000 off. The price is fine, Michael repeated. Let's do the paperwork. Tom nodded and pulled out some forms. I'll need your ID and payment information. Michael took a deep breath. This was the moment his cover would be blown. He reached for his wallet and handed Tom his driver's license and credit card. Tom looked at the name on the card. Then he looked at Michael. Then back at the card. His eyes grew wide. You're Michael Chen, Tom said in a voice just above a whisper. His hands shook slightly. The CEO of Wilson Motors. Michael nodded. Yes, I am. Tom looked confused. But why are you here? At a Thompson truck dealership, in those clothes. Before Michael could answer, Tom jumped up from his chair. I should get my manager. He'll want to know you're here. Please don't, Michael said quickly. I'd prefer if you didn't. But Tom was already rushing across the floor. Michael sighed and took off his baseball cap. There was no point in hiding anymore. Within seconds, a tall man in an expensive suit hurried over with Tom trailing behind him. The man had slicked back hair and a big smile that didn't reach his eyes. Mr. Chen, what an honor. The man stuck out his hand. I'm Peter Jackson, the owner of this dealership. I can't believe you're here. Is there a problem? Are you checking out the competition? Michael shook Peter's hand. No problem. I just needed a truck for personal use. By now, other salespeople had gathered around. They whispered to each other and pointed at Michael. The whole dealership seemed to buzz with excitement. Well, we are thrilled to have you here, Peter said. He turned to Tom. Why didn't you tell me who your customer was? Tom looked at the floor. I didn't know until just now, sir. Peter laughed loudly. Of course. Mr. Chen was being modest. He turned back to Michael. Let me personally handle your purchase, Mr. Chen. Tom is new, and doesn't know our best deals yet. Actually, Michael said firmly, Tom has been very helpful. I'd like him to continue helping me. Peter's smile faltered but quickly returned. Of course. Tom will help you, and I'll supervise to make sure everything is perfect. Michael looked at Tom, who seemed uncomfortable. The young man who had been so talkative during their test drive now stood silently, his eyes still on the floor. Tom showed me this blue truck. I've decided to buy it, Michael said. Peter shook his head. Oh no, Mr. Chen. That model isn't worthy of someone like you. Let me show you our premium trucks. We had a limited edition model that just arrived yesterday. Black with all the extras. Much more suitable for a man of your position. Michael frowned. The blue one is what I want. At least let me offer you our VIP discount, Peter insisted. For you, we can take $10,000 off the price. No, make that $15,000. The other salespeople nodded eagerly. One brought Michael a cup of coffee in the dealership's best mug. Another rushed to clean some dust off the blue truck. Everyone was suddenly very busy trying to please him. Michael watched all this with growing annoyance. This was exactly why he had come in disguise. When people knew who he was, they acted differently. Not real. Not honest. He looked at Tom, who still stood quietly to the side. The young man looked sad, maybe even a little betrayed. Can I talk to Tom alone for a minute? Michael asked. Peter seemed surprised but nodded. Of course, Mr. Chen. Anything you want. We'll prepare the paperwork for the special VIP pricing while you talk. When everyone had moved away, Michael turned to Tom. I'm sorry I wasn't honest with you, Michael said. Tom looked up. Why did you pretend to be someone else? Because I wanted to be treated like a normal customer, not like a CEO. When people know who I am, they act differently. Like everyone is acting now, Tom said, looking around at the busy dealership. Exactly. But you were different. You were honest with me. You showed me the right truck for my needs, not the most expensive one. You even suggested I look at more options before deciding. Tom shrugged. That's just how I think sales should be done. Helping people find what they really need. Michael smiled. I agree. And that's why I have a proposal for you. What kind of proposal? Tom asked, his eyes suddenly curious. Michael looked around to make sure no one was listening. First, I still want to buy the blue truck. The one you showed me. At the regular price, not the so-called VIP discount. Tom nodded slowly. Okay, but why? You could save a lot of money. Because that's the fair price. I don't want special treatment, Michael said. But there's more. I'd like to offer you a job at Wilson Motors. Tom's mouth fell open. A job? At Wilson Motors? Doing what? Working in our sales department at first. But with your engineering studies, you could move to our design team later if you want, Michael explained. I like how you think. You're honest. You care about what the customer really needs. Tom couldn't believe what he was hearing. A job at Wilson Motors was a dream opportunity. They made the best cars in the country and were known for treating their workers well. But then he thought of something. Is this just because you feel bad about tricking me? Tom asked. Michael shook his head. No, it's because in 15 minutes, you showed me more about what's wrong with car sales than all the reports I've read in years. You have good instincts and strong values. That's rare. Tom looked at the photo of his wife and daughter on his desk. This could change everything for them. Better pay, better hours, a chance to work in car design someday. I don't know what to say, Tom said. Say you'll think about it, Michael replied. I'll give you my card. Call me on Monday with your decision. Just then, Peter hurried back with a stack of papers. Everything is ready, Mr. Chen. We've prepared the paperwork for the black premium truck with the VIP discount. Michael turned to Peter with a firm look. I told you, I want the blue truck that Tom showed me. At the regular price. No special discounts. Peter's smile disappeared. But Mr. Chen, surely. That's my decision, Michael said in a voice that made it clear the discussion was over. Peter's face turned red. Of course. Whatever you want. He turned to Tom. Change the paperwork for the blue truck. His voice was cold now. Tom quickly changed the forms. Michael signed them and handed over his credit card. The deal was done. The blue truck was his. As they finished the paperwork, Michael noticed how differently Peter treated Tom now. Before, Peter had ignored Tom. Now he was angry at him, as if Tom had done something wrong by selling Michael the truck he actually wanted. When everything was complete, Peter handed Michael the keys with a big fake smile. Thank you for your business, Mr. Chen. It's been an honor. Please remember that I personally guarantee your satisfaction. Michael took the keys but looked at Tom. Thank you, Tom. You've been very helpful. Tom smiled slightly. You're welcome, Mr. Chen. Enjoy the truck. As Michael prepared to leave, Peter walked with him to the door, talking nonstop about how Thompson Trucks and Wilson Motors could work together. Michael barely listened. Instead, he was thinking about how to fix the problems he had seen today. At the door, Michael turned to Peter. One more thing, Mr. Jackson. Yes, Mr. Chen. Anything at all, Peter said eagerly. The way you treated me was very different from how your staff treated me when I first arrived, Michael said. Why is that? Peter looked confused. Well, of course. You're Michael Chen, and that makes me more important than other customers. Peter stammered. Well, I mean. Michael nodded. That's what I thought. You should know that Tom was the only person who helped me when I came in looking like a regular person. Everyone else ignored me. That says a lot about your dealership. Peter's face went pale. I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. Chen. Don't be sorry to me, Michael said. Be better to all your customers. With that, Michael walked out to his new blue truck, leaving Peter stunned in the doorway. Michael drove his new blue truck out of the dealership. It felt good to be behind the wheel. The truck was solid and strong, just what he needed for the mountain roads to his sister's cabin. As he drove, he thought about what had happened at the dealership. He had gone there to see how regular customers were treated. What he found was both bad and good. Bad because most salespeople ignored him when he looked like an ordinary person. Good because he met Tom, a young man with honest values. Michael's phone rang. It was Lisa, his assistant. Mr. Chen, is everything okay? You missed your morning meeting with the marketing team. Michael had completely forgotten about the meeting. I'm sorry, Lisa. Something important came up. Should I reschedule for this afternoon? Lisa asked. No, Michael said after thinking for a moment. Schedule it for Monday. And Lisa, please call a company meeting for Monday afternoon. All department heads. Yes, sir. May I ask what it's about? Customer experience, Michael said. I want to talk about how we treat all our customers, not just the rich ones. After hanging up, Michael continued driving to his sister's cabin. The truck handled the bumpy mountain roads perfectly. Tom had been right about this model. Amy was surprised to see her brother arrive in a blue truck instead of his usual expensive car. She was even more surprised that he had come at all. Usually, he canceled family events for work. Nice truck, Amy said as she hugged him. But why didn't you bring your fancy car? Michael smiled. It wouldn't make it up your mountain roads. Besides, I like this truck. It reminds me of something important. What's that? Amy asked. Being real, Michael said. Being honest. During dinner with Amy and her family, Michael was quieter than usual. He kept thinking about the dealership, about Tom, about how differently people treated him when they knew he was rich and powerful. Earth to Michael. Amy waved her hand in front of his face. You're 1,000,000 miles away. What's on your mind? Michael put down his fork. Do you think success changes people, or just how others treat them? Amy looked surprised by the deep question. Both, probably. Why? Today I pretended to be a regular person, Michael explained. I wore old clothes and went to buy this truck. No one would help me except one young man named Tom. That's terrible, Amy said. Yes, but it taught me something. At Wilson Motors, we might be doing the same thing, treating rich customers better than regular ones. I need to fix that. After dinner, Michael helped wash the dishes, something he hadn't done in years. It felt good to do normal things with his family. To be just Michael, not the CEO of Wilson Motors. Later that night, Michael sat on Amy's porch, looking at the stars. His phone buzzed. It was a text message from a number he didn't recognize. Mr. Chen, this is Tom from Thompson Trucks. I've been thinking about your offer. Can we talk? Michael smiled and texted back. Of course. Call me tomorrow. Meanwhile, back at Thompson Trucks, things weren't going well for Tom. After Michael left, Peter had called Tom into his office. What did you say to Mr. Chen? Peter demanded. He could have bought our most expensive truck, but he insisted on the basic model. And he mentioned something about a job. Are you trying to leave us? Tom shifted uncomfortably in his chair. Mr. Chen offered me a position at Wilson Motors. Peter's face turned red with anger. After one day of working with you, the CEO of Wilson Motors offered you a job. I don't believe it. It's true, Tom said quietly. Well, you're not going anywhere, Peter said. You signed a contract with us. If you try to leave, we'll sue you. Tom's heart sank. He didn't know about any contract that would prevent him from taking another job. But Peter was the boss, and Tom couldn't afford to get into legal trouble, not with a wife and baby to support. As Tom drove home that night, he wondered what to do. Should he take Michael's offer and risk Peter's threat? Or should he stay at a job where his boss now hated him? The next morning, Michael woke up early. The sun was just coming up over the mountains. He made coffee and sat on his sister's porch. The air was fresh and cool. His phone rang. It was Tom. Good morning, Mr. Chen, Tom said. His voice sounded worried. Good morning, Tom. And please call me Michael. There was a pause. Okay, Michael. I wanted to talk about your job offer. Yes, of course, Michael said. Have you made a decision? Tom sighed. I want to take it. I really do. But there's a problem. After you left yesterday, Mr. Jackson called me into his office. He was really angry. He said I signed a contract that doesn't allow me to work for a competitor for 2 years after leaving Thompson Trucks. He threatened to sue me if I tried to join Wilson Motors. Michael frowned. Did you actually sign such a contract? I signed a lot of papers when I started, Tom admitted. I was so happy to get the job. I didn't read everything carefully. I needed the work to support my family. Michael understood. Many companies use these non-compete agreements to trap employees. He had always been against them. Don't worry, Tom, Michael said. I have a legal team that can help. Can you meet me on Monday at my office? Bring any paperwork you have from Thompson Trucks. Really? You would do that for me? Tom sounded surprised. Of course, Michael said. You were honest with me. I want to be honest with you, and I still want you on my team. After the call ended, Michael called his head lawyer, Sarah Wong. Even though it was Saturday, Sarah answered right away. Sarah, I need you to look into something. Thompson Trucks and their non-compete agreements. They're trying to stop a young man from coming to work for us. Sarah promised to check into it. Michael then spent the rest of the day with his sister and her family. They hiked in the mountains and had a picnic by a small lake. For once, Michael didn't check his emails or take business calls. It felt good to be away from work. On Sunday evening, Michael drove back to the city in his new blue truck. The more he drove it, the more he liked it. It wasn't fancy or flashy like his sports car, but it was solid and reliable. Meanwhile, Tom was having a hard weekend. He had told his wife, Sarah, about Michael's job offer and about Peter's threat. It sounds too good to be true, Sarah said as she rocked their baby. The CEO of Wilson Motors wants to hire you after meeting you once. I know it sounds crazy, Tom said, But he seemed sincere, and a job at Wilson Motors would change everything for us. Better pay, better hours, and a chance to work in car design someday. But what if Mr. Jackson really sues us? Sarah asked. We can't afford a lawyer. Tom nodded. He had been thinking about this all weekend. Michael, Mr. Chen says his legal team can help, but I'm still scared. What if I lose the job at Thompson and then the Wilson job falls through? We have Emma to think about. Sarah put their sleeping baby in her crib and hugged Tom. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. We'll figure it out together. On Monday morning, Tom woke up early. He put on his best shirt and tie, the same one he had worn to his job interview at Thompson Trucks. He kissed Sarah and baby Emma goodbye. Wish me luck, he said. I'm going to meet Michael Chen at Wilson Motors. Sarah squeezed his hand. Good luck. I believe in you. Tom drove to the Wilson Motors headquarters. It was a tall glass building in the center of the city, very different from the small Thompson Trucks dealership. He parked his old car in the visitor lot and looked up at the building. His heart was beating fast. Here goes nothing, he said to himself as he walked toward the entrance. Tom walked into the Wilson Motors building. The lobby was huge, with shiny marble floors and tall glass walls. A large metal logo of the company hung behind the front desk. Tom had never been in such a fancy place before. A woman at the front desk smiled at him. How can I help you? I'm Tom Harris. I have a meeting with Mr. Chen, Tom said, his voice shaking a little. The woman checked her computer. Yes, Mr. Harris. Mr. Chen is expecting you. Please take the elevator to the top floor. His assistant will meet you there. Tom rode the elevator to the 50th floor. His stomach felt tight. Was he making a mistake? What if Peter Jackson was right about the contract? What if this was all too good to be true? When the elevator doors opened, a woman with kind eyes greeted him. Mr. Harris, I'm Lisa, Mr. Chen's assistant. Please follow me. Lisa led Tom through a large office space. People were busy working at their desks. Some looked up as Tom passed. He felt out of place in his simple shirt and tie. Everyone here looked so professional. They stopped at a big wooden door. Lisa knocked and then opened it. Mr. Chen, Tom Harris is here to see you. Michael stood up from behind a large desk and walked over with a smile. He was wearing a perfect suit that probably cost more than Tom's car, but his smile was warm and real. Tom, thank you for coming, Michael said, shaking Tom's hand. Please, sit down. Tom sat in a comfortable chair across from Michael's desk. Through the window behind Michael, Tom could see the whole city. I brought my paperwork, Tom said, pulling out a folder. Excellent, Michael said. Sarah Wong, our head lawyer, will be joining us soon. As if on cue, the door opened and a sharp-looking woman in a gray suit walked in. She had short black hair and glasses. Sarah, this is Tom Harris, the young man I told you about, Michael said. Sarah shook Tom's hand with a firm grip. Nice to meet you, Tom. Mr. Chen speaks highly of you. Tom handed Sarah his folder. These are all the papers I signed when I started at Thompson Trucks. Sarah looked through the papers carefully. After a few minutes, she looked up with a small smile. Mr. Harris, did you sign a separate non-compete agreement? She asked. Tom thought hard. I don't think so. They gave me a big stack of papers and said they were standard forms. Sarah nodded. There's no non-compete clause in these documents, just standard employment papers, and even if there was, it probably wouldn't hold up in court for a salesperson position. Non-compete agreements are meant for high-level executives with company secrets, not for sales staff. Tom felt a wave of relief. So Peter Jackson was lying to me. It appears so, Sarah said. He was trying to scare you into staying. Michael leaned forward. Tom, this means you're free to accept our job offer, if you want it. Tom couldn't believe it. Really? I can work here? Yes, Michael said. But first, I want to show you something. Michael led Tom and Sarah to a conference room where about 20 people were already seated. They all stood up when Michael entered. "Everyone, this is Tom Harris," Michael announced. "Tom, these are the heads of all our departments at Wilson Motors." Tom felt his face grow hot. Why was he meeting all these important people? Michael continued, "This morning, I called this meeting to discuss something important I learned this weekend about how we treat customers. All customers, not just rich ones." Michael told the group about his experience at Thompson Trucks, how no one would help him when he was dressed in old clothes, how Tom was the only one who treated him with respect. "Tom showed me that good customer service isn't about how much money someone has," Michael said. "It's about seeing each person as important." The department heads listened carefully. Some took notes. "That's why," Michael said, turning to Tom, "I'm not just offering Tom a job in sales. I want him to help lead a new customer experience team, to make sure all our customers are treated with respect, no matter what they wear or what car they drive." Tom couldn't speak. This was more than a job offer. This was a chance to make a real difference. 6 months later, Tom stood in front of a large group of new employees at Wilson Motors. He wore a nice suit now, but not too fancy. Michael had told him to stay true to himself. "Welcome to Wilson Motors," Tom said with a confident smile. "I'm Tom Harris, head of customer experience. My job is to make sure we treat every customer with respect and honesty." The new employees listened carefully as Tom told them the story of how he met Michael Chen, how Michael had come to Thompson Trucks dressed in old clothes, how no one but Tom had helped him, how that simple truck deal had changed both their lives. After the training, Tom went to his new office. It wasn't as big as Michael's, but it had a window with a nice view. On his desk was a picture of Sarah and Emma, and next to it, a small model of a blue truck, the same model he had sold to Michael that day. His phone rang. It was Michael. "How did the training go?" Michael asked. "Great," Tom said. The new employees seemed to really understand the message. "Excellent. Are you ready for our meeting with engineering? They want to hear your ideas for the new family car design." Tom smiled. "I'll be right there." In just 6 months, Tom's life had completely changed. He now had a good salary. Sarah didn't have to work 2 jobs anymore. They had moved to a nicer apartment closer to the office. And best of all, Tom was taking classes in car design, paid for by Wilson Motors. Meanwhile, interesting things had happened at Thompson Trucks too. After Tom left, Peter Jackson had been angry. He told everyone that Tom was a traitor. But then something unexpected happened. Michael Chen had bought Thompson Trucks. The truck dealership was now part of Wilson Motors. Peter Jackson was gone. And the new manager? It was Rick, an older salesman who had always been kind to Tom. Rick now ran the dealership using Tom's customer experience guidelines. As Tom walked to the engineering department, he passed Michael's blue truck in the company parking lot. Michael still drove it every day, even though he owned many fancier cars. He said it reminded him of an important lesson. In the engineering meeting, Tom shared his ideas for a new family car. The engineers listened respectfully. 1 year ago, no one would have cared what a truck salesman thought about car design. Now they wanted his opinion because he understood what real families needed. After work, Tom drove home in his new company car. It wasn't the most expensive model, but it was perfect for his family. As he drove, he thought about how much had changed because of one chance meeting. When he got home, Sarah and Emma were waiting for him. Emma was walking now and ran to the door when he entered. "Guess what?" Sarah said with a big smile. "Michael and his sister Amy invited us to a barbecue this weekend at Amy's cabin. They want us to bring Emma." Tom picked up his daughter and hugged her tight. "That sounds perfect." That weekend, 2 families gathered at a cabin in the mountains. Michael Chen, the CEO of Wilson Motors, cooked hamburgers on the grill. His sister Amy played with little Emma. Tom and Sarah sat on the porch, watching the sunset over the mountains. Michael joined them, holding a plate of food. "Beautiful view, isn't it?" Tom nodded. It really is. Thank you, Michael. Not just for the job, but for seeing something in me that day. Michael smiled. No, thank you, Tom. You reminded me what's really important in business. It's not about fancy suits or big offices. It's about treating people right. As the sun set, they all sat together, not as boss and employee, but as friends. And parked side by side were two blue trucks, Michael's and Tom's, a gift from Michael on Tom's promotion. A simple reminder of how an ordinary truck deal had taken an extraordinary turn. The end.